Okay, everybody, so in this first example, I am looking for all the complex fourth roots of this complex number in polar form. It says write the roots in polar form in degrees. Our problem was given to us in degrees. We're going to write our answer in degrees. So z sub k, as I'm looking for the complex fourth roots, I'm going to take the fourth root of 16. Okay, and then I'm going to have the cosine, do this, cosine of 120 degrees plus 360k over 4, because it's a fourth root, plus I sine of 120 degrees plus 360 degrees k over 4. I meant to put parentheses in there. I think I'm missing some parentheses. Oh, I didn't need that one parenthesis in there. Too many parentheses. Get rid of that one there. Okay, so that is my setup. And because I'm looking for the fourth roots, I'm going to do this for k is 0, 1, 2, and 3. K always starts at 0. Okay, so you're doing this for k equals 0, 1, 2, and 3 because it's the fourth root that I'm looking for. So that 4 comes into play here when you're taking the fourth root. It comes into play here as the denominators, and then it comes into play here because it's the fourth root, so I have 4 values here. Okay? So that is your setup. So let's do z to the 0 first. Z to the 0 is going to be the fourth root of 16. We already know what that is, right? Fourth root of 16 is going to be 2. Okay, so then I've got the cosine of 120 plus 0, because I'm multiplying k is 0. So I multiply 360 by 0. So I end up with 120 over 4. 120 over 4 plus I sine 120 over 4, which if I simplify that out, I end up with 2 cosine of 30 plus I sine of 30. And that is in polar form, so I don't need to do anything else with it. That's my first one. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing for z sub 1. This is 2. Now I have cosine of 120 plus 360 over 4 plus I sine of 120 plus 360 over 4, because k is 1. And so that gives me 2 cosine, that would be 480 over 4, so that would be cosine of 120 plus I sine of 120. Be a degree symbol. No, it's kind of hard to see, it went off the white there, but that's what you get. I'll try to move this one over. Z to the third, or excuse me, z sub 3 is going to be 2. And then I'm going to have cosine, and now I'm going to have 360 times 2, which is 720. 720 plus 120 is 840. Right, so I have 840 over 4 plus I sine of 840 over 4, which would then give me 2 cosine of 210 plus I sine of 210. And z sub 4, we'd have 2, and then I'd have 3, 6, oops, what did I miss? Oh, that should have been 2 in there. Sorry, that should have been 2. I'm trying to do this quickly. And this should be 3. I don't know why. Anyway, okay. So that was 2, and then for 3, 360 times 3 plus 120 gives us 1200. 1200 over 4 plus I sine of 1200 over 4. And that gives us 2 cosine of 300 plus I sine of 300. And those are your your complex fourth roots of the original complex number in polar form. Okay, so that's how you would do that. And the last one is to find all the cube roots of 8, and it says write the roots in rectangular form. Okay, so the first thing, let's see, we're doing z. Right, we have to do this in terms of z. So we have to do z sub k, and we have to go through and figure that out. Problem is, this is in rectangular form, and I need it to be in polar form. So if I write it in polar form, right, 8 is the same as 8 plus 0i. And so if I write that in polar form, that would be 8 times the cosine of 0 plus I sine of 0. Okay, because think about where 8 is. It's right here. So your angle is 0. Okay, so this would be 8 in polar form. And so when we do z sub k, we're doing the cube root of 8 because it says cube root. And then we're doing cosine. I'm going to do this one in radians. So we have cosine of 0 plus 2 pi k over 3, because it's cube root, plus I sine, and I'm squeezing this in here, 0 plus 2 pi k over 3. And our k values are 0, 1, and 2. So z sub 0 is going to be cube root of 8 times the cosine of 0, right? 0 plus 0 is just going to be 0. So it's going to be the cosine of 0 plus I sine of 0. So that's going to give you 2. Cube root of 8 is 2. 2 times cosine of 0 is 1. Sine of 0 is 0. So that would just give you 2. Z sub 1. I already know the cube root of 8 is 2. So I'm just going to write that as 2. Now I've got a cosine of 0 plus 2 pi over 3. Right? If I'm plugging 1 in for k, so 0 plus 2 pi, all of that over 3 gives you 2 pi over 3 plus I sine of 2 pi over 3. And that would be 2 times the cosine of 2 pi over 3 is negative 1/2. Sine of 2 pi over 3 is root 3 over 2. So that gives you, when you distribute, negative 1 plus I root 3. And then your last one, we have 2. And now k is 2, so now I have cosine of 4 pi over 3 plus I sine of 4 pi over 3 is equal to 2 times, now I'm in the third quadrant, both sine and cosine are negative in the third quadrant. So that would give me negative 1 minus I root 3. And that's hard to read, but that's what that says. Let me rewrite that. That is negative I root, oops, root, that's a 3 in there. Negative 1 minus I root. There it is. If you can't read that. Okay, so that's how you find the roots. Use those examples as help. Once you do it once through, it should be relatively easy. It's just a little bit on the tedious side. But that's how you're going to do the assignment for tonight. And see you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.